Welcome back. This is Fatherhood in Focus, and this episode is very much focused on how employers can better support you, the working dad. As always, I'm your host, Aidan, a father of two and founder of the Modern Fatherhood Club. Today we're talking about the support on offer to you from your employer once your fatherhood journey starts. For me, this is a two-sided story. One for you, Dad, which includes the things you need to be aware of, and the other is the view of the employer, or the view from the employer, and what they need to be listening to and to start thinking about. As the employer, you're just not going far enough. And I think the pressure of modern fatherhood is being overlooked, and it's just not being catered for. Yes, your practices and policies can change, but there's more education needed to help fathers at the beginning of their journey. I'm afraid though, Dad, the buck can't just be passed here. You've got to engage. You need to be openly talking about fatherhood and assessing the impact your employer is having on you and your family. In today's world, we as dads are faced with the challenge now of balancing our work commitments with creating that nurturing environment where our children can thrive. The traditional division of labour within families is becoming more fluid. My wife works full-time. Back in the day, perhaps she wouldn't have done. So she is contributing more to the financial stability of our home, and that's a choice that she makes, and one I support. The division of labour creates more opportunity for us to both be engaged in the children's lives. But it also creates the need for both parents to find a balance. And I think employers need to step up and play a big part in that. The policies have to be supportive. They have to create space for parents to be present with their kids. Speaking from my own experience, as a couple, we often find ourselves caught between the expectations of our employers, the dynamics within our relationship, and the desire to be present and involved in the kids' lives. The weight of societal pressure and those long-standing stereotypes that can cast a shadow can actually lead to feelings of guilt and doubts about your parenting approach. And amidst these challenges, there is a growing recognition of the immense benefits that we, the father, have on the development of our children. The research is clear. You are having a phenomenal impact on your kids' journey. Your presence is key, and your engagement in the day-to-day activities only brings you closer together. So if we play such a vital role, why is the role of the father often overlooked by employers? Is it that the focus is diverted to diversity and inclusion initiatives? That's, I think, a yes and no answer. I genuinely believe that dads are overlooked because we're not looking for support. We're certainly less inclined to ask for it. We like to keep work and home life separate. And whilst parenting out loud is a positive movement and something that I'm fully behind, the game changer is positive movement within the workplace from working dads to force the issue. The policies exist: flexible working, shared parental leave, and even enhanced paternity package. But the education is poor at a leadership level, and social biases still exist at every turn. What I want is to be recognised as a father and an important cog within your business. And simple policy changes is only the first step. Active engagement from the leadership teams to talk about fatherhood and celebrate it has to be visible. Let's break it down. What are the challenges that we face? Well, there's a lack of work-life balance. Whatever your career, you will struggle to balance your professional commitments with your family responsibility. It's like walking a tightrope. At times, it feels like you have everything under control. Then something unexpected happens, throwing off this delicate balance that you've been clinging on to. As we get into the detail, I'll try to highlight some practical strategies and techniques that can help you navigate the demands on your time. Your story, your circumstances, they are unique to you, and what works for one may not work for another, and you have to take that and you have to understand it. For me, it all began when I reflected on the needs of my children, my needs, my partner's needs, and of course, the expectations of my employer. By differentiating between wants and needs, you can focus on what truly matters. It helps you focus and simplify on what is important and what is in front of you. As a working father, you need to understand everything I've just mentioned. Before you can do anything, you've got to zero in on the needs. These aren't demands or wants. This is just the simple stuff that you know you have to prioritise. The wants and demands actually create the stress and pressure, whether it be that demand from your employer to be back in the office more regularly, or the request from your partner to spend more time together. These are wants. What your employer needs from you is to deliver on the contract you signed. And your partner's needs may be totally under the radar and subtle, but you must understand them to help work on the balance needed to effectively juggle all those conflicting priorities on your plate. Let me be very clear. Your employer isn't going to support you. The moment you walk through the door after paternity leave, you're on your own. You've got to find that balance. But you cannot do so without support, education, communication, and understanding. Think about your approach to fatherhood in the early days. As a dedicated father, it's easy to put everyone else's needs above your own. Baby and mum become your priority. So naturally, you will push on, give them everything you think they need. With your focus directed towards everything else, the first thing you sacrifice is that moment to breathe and decompress. Those first few weeks, they're about finding your rhythm as a family. And together, you've got to work it out. You've got to find the balance that includes time to unwind and decompress. The challenge, of course, starts before baby arrives. And if you've not been looking after yourself before baby arrives and making the right choices about what's important, then starting after baby arrives is going to be a really difficult task. It's going to be really hard to pin down and identify the things that really matter. If you continue to overlook the importance of looking after your health and well-being and think that old habits and escapisms will see you through, you're wrong. It caught me out, it left me exhausted and on the verge of throwing everything I worked for away. I don't want that for you, and that's why this subject is so important. When faced with that seismic shift in the world around you, that type of approach, the one I took, can leave you feeling exhausted. And when your kids and your partner need you to be at your best, you're going to be focused on survival and you're going to be ignoring the need to be present. This is about trying to manage the fatigue. Let's face it, staying afloat at home and work just isn't going to cut it. Once that fatigue kicks in, your decision making can be impaired, and that can stop you focusing on the magic, the cuddles, the joy, and all those things that are needs and not wants. The fatigue won't always be noticeable, but expect it to impact your willingness to take a moment for yourself. Listen, every parent needs time to decompress, and as a new father looking to provide, support and protect, your need to decompress must not be overlooked. One of the biggest challenges you're going to face as a parent is that you are forced to relinquish control. And what worked before is unlikely to work now. And the relentlessness of it all can force you backwards. The approach you take to managing stress, anxiety, unhappiness, anger and frustration can actually lead you to question your value, the contribution you make, and whether you're even good enough to give them what they need. Look, for me, I chose to ignore the signs. When I finally realised the impact it was having on my family, it was almost too late. Stress and fatigue can become constant companions. As you start to feel the effects, your capacity to be fully present for your family is going to diminish. It isn't just about the impact on your health. Fatigue can have a negative impact on the health and happiness of your partner and the little ones. I don't believe you need to be at peak physical condition or run ultra marathons and lift the heaviest weights. I personally believe you just need to prioritise decompressing. You find the avenue for escape, you work on it, you find out what works best, and you throw yourself at it. You see, prioritising a moment for yourself is about finding that moment to rid yourself of the stress that you carry as a dad. And employers have really got to be clued up on this. It's about focusing on your health for the longer term benefit of your family. And it's about teaching your children, your partner, about managing the load that they carry. So your objective as a dad is to set an example and demonstrate how it's done. But this can't be done if you're not willing to openly communicate home and in the workplace. Look, in March 2020, I went back to work after a mental snap and told nobody. I responded positively at home, reprioritised the things that I needed to focus on, but kept the situation close to my chest. Why? My boss. Those people around me had become used to relying on me. I didn't want them to see that I needed a break. What I needed was a moment to breathe. But when faced with managing a business trying to adjust to the chaos of COVID, I wanted to be useful and I needed to add value. You see, these things were important to me. But if I look back, was I performing at my peak? I don't think so. The hard work had only just started at home, which meant I had to find the balance. And in my view at the time, this wasn't on my employer. This was on me. That said, how an employer and employee engage on that first interaction after a baby sets the tone for the remainder of that relationship. In the early days, the senses are overloaded, and at times there can feel like there is no escape and no time to breathe. This isn't designed to put you off, but it is the reality check most of us need. The problem won't be that you're unable to connect. The problem will be that your connection might be impaired because you're distracted by the outside world. Your health, both mental and physical, unlocks your ability to feel confident in your role as a father and in your role at work. The mental side is about making time to decompress, boost your energy and enhance your mood. This in turn enhances your capacity to engage fully with your family and to be emotionally available to your partner. Every father wants to add value and contribute to raising his kids, but the demands of work and demands on your time might stop you spending quality time with them. And this in turn can undermine your confidence in your role and the approach you take to parenting. For me, guys, preparation is everything, something I learned after the fact. When I needed to get back on track, it started with quantifying the impact I wanted to have on my family. I had to find answers to a simple set of questions. The questions helped me gain a better understanding of the impact I wanted to have on my boys and my partner. When I returned to work, I wanted to know what I was missing and if it was something that would allow me to build a better connection with my kids. I wanted to understand what was contributing to my stress and what would allow me to feel less stressed, more relaxed and happier in myself. I wanted to understand the obstacles that I was facing and how they were impacting my day-to-day family life. I needed to understand what I wanted from my role as a father, and I had to articulate what I wanted for my kids and how I would deliver it. There were things I wanted to share with my kids, and there were things I deprioritised because we had kids. This decision to deprioritise things that made me smile was having a massive impact on my relationship, and I needed to assess how continuing on that path would impact them in the longer term. Most important of all, I needed to understand what my kids and my partner needed and how that would change over time. You see, if you can quantify the impact you want to have before taking paternity and even before baby arrives, then you can get a clearer understanding of the things that might hinder you in your role. Think about those return to work moments. Think about those progression conversations. The day you become a dad, all of those are influenced by what's at home. Yes, you can be career focused, ambitious and willing to push and deliver, but the motivation for the change, for the progress that you're looking to make actually starts at home. But if the two are in conflict, one is going to lose out. Could it be an ego thing? It isn't, in my view. It is all about finding the space, understanding the impact, so that you can be present at home and have a massive impact. But at the same time, be connected at work. Be focused on whatever it is you're working on, that project, that objective, whatever the job may be, that you are giving your all without burning out. And this is where employers miss the point. As dads, we come back into the equation after having paternity leave. Or even if we've not had paternity leave, we're just getting back to it. We just move through it. We just move on. It's like a little chapter in a book. We just push on regardless. Even if something catastrophic took place during that paternity leave, something where mum was at risk, baby was at risk, we hold those things close to our chest because we do not want to be judged. We do not want you, the employer, to question our commitment because our mind is elsewhere. We are focused on our family. There is nothing wrong with that. The quality of our output is directly impacted by the contribution that we make at home. You, the employer, need to support us on our fatherhood journey. You need to create the policies, the space. It's not just about paternity leave and enhancing paternity leave. It's about the education. Not every dad is going to prepare. Not every dad is willing to prepare. Not every dad is willing to go that extra mile. But in the workplace, those new fathers every year are being overlooked. Your policies are not strong enough. If you want us to take extended parental leave, we need to understand the impact that it's going to have on our career. It's going to have on the way that we are perceived in the workplace. That question set helped me gain insight into what was holding me back. As you embark on your own journey, this question set can help you feel more confident in those early days and help you get clearer on the impact of your decision making. If you're listening to this before baby arrives, use these questions now. Use them to prepare any conversation you may need to have with your employer, and share the answers with your partner and demonstrate your commitment. These questions can also help you understand how you want to feel in your role as their dad. There will be things you love, things that help you decompress, that you no longer have time for, and there will be things about you that you wish you could change. I think it's too late to make those changes. You see, by losing sight of what really matters and not recognising the costs of your decisions, you can push your body and mind to unhealthy limits. The questions that I shared help you assess the balance you have now and get a clear view on what balance you need in the future. This is your chance to feel more prepared than the average dad. The questions I've asked have evolved over time, but above all else, they've allowed me to reflect on my role and the impact that I'm having. And this is something I urge you to do. Your children need a strong, resilient and confident father. But what they really need is someone who isn't distracted by the outside world. They need you to love them unconditionally. They need you to engage in play and creativity. Understanding what they really need enables you to see it all from a different perspective. A clear-headed dad will see what his kids need. Whilst we're all very different in our parenting approach, you cannot argue that what your kids need is warmth, love, food, compassion, emotional connection and guidance from someone prepared for the journey ahead. That's it. Everything else is just noise that you create. As they get older, they will want different things and experiences, but they'll still need everything I've just spelled out. A distracted dad, caught in a conflicted state, might not see the role the same way. We're all searching for that balance. It's almost impossible to achieve, but prioritising what's important, the impact you want to have, and simplifying the role you play gives you the chance to focus on the little things. If you're an employer listening to this, it's important to understand that providing the resources and support is key. But whatever support you choose to provide, it's got to work for dad, and you've got to engage him in the process. He is not just a statistic. We're not talking parenthood, we're talking fatherhood. There's a massive difference. And the minute you talk in generic terms, you lose my engagement. We're missing a trick. We're not celebrating Father's Day, Father's Mental Health Day, and even Men's Mental Health Week. We're celebrating during Pride Month. Now, when you sit down to talk about inclusion and diversity, are you affecting change? We're failing to celebrate the role models, those men influencing lives and guiding from positions of strength and confidence. Yes, he may be bulletproof to you at work. He may be the most cocksure, confident person that you know. He delivers at work. But what is he losing? What is he giving up Yes, he's providing, but the quality of the engagement, the stress that he's bringing home, is that stopping him from delivering what they need at home? Is he distracted? Are the emails pinging? Is it creating a divide between him and his children? Now, that's not necessarily your responsibility as his employer, but you can carve out time and space to educate your leadership team on the impact of fatherhood. Get dads talking during these critical times in the year, especially Men's Mental Health Week. Get them talking about fatherhood. Share the stories, the ups, the downs, the shit, the achievement, the joy, the happiness, everything that comes with fatherhood. The pain, the realities of having a baby and trying to hold down your bloody job. All these things are so important. All these things are being missed. Now, when you sit down to talk about inclusion and diversity, are you affecting change, celebrating the positive impact of men and fathers during the month of June? Or are you focusing somewhere else? We're not engaged. We're underrepresented. And you might even argue as an employer you're doing enough. But are you engaging fathers in the conversation? Are you talking about it openly? Are you celebrating the positive role models and the male role models in your business that just so happen to be fathers? In my experience, the events focused on men's mental health are often open to all. A man in the workplace is likely to bottle things up when these forums are open to all. But take my dad chats. If we opened it up to parent chats, we'd lose the engagement within the dad community. We do want to be inclusive. But as a man, I want to see engagement from my peer group, a space to chat, listen to a panel of my peers and talk when I'm ready. Create me the space to do so. Above everything, I just want to be heard and not judged. Opening the forum up to a wider group, in my experience, leaves me with little incentive to actively participate. Fatherhood for many is the turning point. It tests them to their very core and teaches them more about themselves in a short space of time than any other challenge they'll have faced. That's why prioritising dads is so important during this critical journey. As his employer, you can only share the resources and provide the space, and I accept that, but the policies can go further. A new father or even an experienced one must find his way, but clear signposting is the most important step. As his employer, you can facilitate open discussions with him on key topics like time management, boundaries, effective communication, flexible working, the financial impact of having kids, better decision making. If they have that fatherhood spin, then you'll get the conversation started. Dad, I'm afraid you still need to work up to the conversations about righting the balance. You've got to stand up for yourself. You've got to make yourself heard. For you, the employer, here is what I think are the basic strategies that will help him find that all-important balance. First, it's about effective time management. Understand that quality time with his kids is precious. He might also want to think about career growth and future opportunities. By prioritising and maximising the available time he has with his kids, he can actually create those meaningful connections. So planning and scheduling dedicated time can be instrumental to maintaining that all-important, healthy work-life balance. Now, as an employee, you might not think this has anything to do with you, but it does. You've got to engage in this part of his journey, and that starts from the point he notifies you that he's about to become a dad. He'll battle on regardless of your support. If you engage with him and offer him access to support networks, will he be more engaged when he returns? Will he recognise that you know that fatherhood and family is important to him? Dad, if you're listening, time management can be supported by your employer, but you must still take the initiative. Something else to consider is setting boundaries. Boundaries at home, at work, in your relationships. They all allow him to be clear on his commitment to his family. He is going to learn quickly that he needs to say no to things. Now, that won't be something as his employee you have seen from him before or even want to hear. But if he's preparing to put family first, he's got to wrestle with the conflict that will drive him toward you and away from those he loves the most. If he doesn't feel able to manage your expectation, then the openness in communication falls by the wayside. By encouraging him to reflect on his workload, you actively show that you're willing to listen. Dad, you'll still need to find a way to fit it all in. But flexibility and open communication can help you manage this difficult dynamic. Learning to say no and creating space for you, for your family, and for your work commitments is vital. You've got to set clear expectations with your bosses, and as his leader, you've got to understand what those expectations mean. He has to avoid feeling obligated to sacrifice the things that matter. Effective communication plays a significant role in maintaining this healthy work-life balance. It's important to have open conversations with your employer about family commitments, and starting that dialogue early, even before paternity leave, can actually help the dad work through and discuss flexible working arrangements. I'm afraid as his employer, you've got to listen. You've got to provide access to the resources and encourage community within the workplace. Communication at home is equally as important. The financial implications and the pressures of returning to work can add extra stress to the family dynamics. So exploring opportunities for flexible working is another valuable strategy. I'm going to address this in more detail over the next few episodes because here in the UK there are conditions attached to a flexible request, one I'd like to explore in more detail. Look, Dad, to the employer, flexibility can provide him with more control over his time and allow him to be more present with his family without impacting your business objectives. Again though, Dad, it's on you. You need to take the initiative. You're looking to find a balance. You need to explore your options. You want to be present, not distant. And whilst flexible working works for some, it's not for everyone. For me it works. I can balance the support my partner needs because I can work flexibly. It did detrimentally impact my career for a short period, but my decision was a personal one and one that worked for us, and I wouldn't change it. What I did was change my employer. Lastly, employers, you've got to get better at supporting working families by helping direct them to the resources that help them better understand the financial impact of maternity and paternity leave. This can help the family feel more secure, a father more supported, and it also helps both parents work on getting back into the workforce after baby. Remember, there are two parents to the family, one making a sacrifice for the advancement of the family's future, one making the same sacrifice by taking time out of her career to look after baby and be the primary carer. You might think all of this falls outside your remit as an employer, but education and access to resources can help Dad make the right decisions, and those decisions that enable him to deliver at home and work. But most important of all, it will allow him to be a more supportive and engaged partner in his partner's motherhood journey, including understanding the obstacles she's going to face along the way. Both you, his employer, and you, Dad, need to engage in a better understanding around the mental strain of fatherhood. It's essential to acknowledge and support fathers' mental health throughout his journey. We all know the statistics, and they reveal that a vast majority of men will become fathers at some point in their lives. However, it's alarming to note that between 3 and 10% of new fathers develop depression during pregnancy and post-birth. Again, our collective failure to talk about the elephant in the room is creating a void, one filled with disillusioned and unsupported fathers. Just remember that suicide remains the highest killer of men between the ages of 20 and 49. These figures highlight the critical importance of recognising and addressing paternal mental health challenges. These are the stats as an employer you will hear and be educated on. But ask yourself, are you focused on the father in this demographic? Postnatal depression in fathers, commonly known as PND, is a real phenomenon. The struggle and exhaustion of parenthood can indeed be part of the experience, but it's crucial to understand when it becomes more than just adaptation. To understand more, I want you to check out the previous episodes, episode 1 to 5, of Fatherhood in Focus. But I want to point out one thing. There is a fine line between the early pressures of fatherhood and PND, and that fine line can be crossed unknowingly. If you're not talking about mental health in new and experienced dads, then you're missing a trick. Of course, that's where I can come in and help your organisation navigate those conversations and open up the doors. For more, you can contact me at hello@themodernfatherhoodclub.com. Look, the warning signs are never going to be immediately obvious, and as employer, You might not have seen it. But it's important to remember the arrival of a baby is not the sole factor that can push a father over the edge. It's fair to say that buried or ignored issues can resurface during this transformative period. The pressures faced by us today differ from those experienced by previous generations. The lack of resources, education and preparation catches us off guard. My failure to acknowledge those pressures is one thing, but as my employer, you must be alive to the issues. My failure to mentally prepare for the significant shift in everyday life can leave me feeling overwhelmed. But often we overlook or ignore the symptoms of PND, of depression, hoping that they're going to pass. And it's essential to recognise that prolonged, unaddressed challenges can have a short-term and long-term impact for both the individual and the family unit. And if you're looking at this as his employer, it can lead to burnout, lack of engagement and apathy towards the goals of your organisation. Again, it's a tricky line for you to manage, but some education is morally better than none. Champion men's mental health. Create conversation and engagement groups and make them peer-led. If you're championing men's mental health, just don't forget about dad. By supporting fathers' mental well-being, you help support healthier and happier families. The byproduct, of course, is engagement across your employees. We all must recognise and appreciate the societal expectations and stereotypes. In the past, we were primarily seen as breadwinners and disciplinarians. Society had clear expectations of this role, emphasising the responsibility to provide. However, societal stigmas and stereotypes surrounding masculinity further complicate the mental health journey for us, the father. The notion that men should always embody strength, resilience and emotional detachment can prevent us from seeking help or expressing our struggles. You, the employer, will know this already if you've invested in support and training on men's mental health. But the gap remains. I'm dad. I'm a man, but my needs are different. The core of my role has evolved, and you must appreciate that my priorities are different now. Those societal pressures create a sense of isolation and internalised stress, exacerbating mental health challenges for me and others like me. I like my space. I like to dedicate my time to the things I enjoy, and I want to have an impact on my kids that I believe sets them up for a successful future. What that success is, I'm not sure, but they must learn from, and I must guide in a way that creates opportunities to learn and grow. What does that mean? I can often find myself isolated. I get it. But the difference is I've made a conscious choice to work on the things that matter to me, including staying on track mentally and physically. For some though, they're isolating and they're risking their health. They're isolated because they've ignored what they needed to focus on, and they're focused on everybody else's needs. Collectively, employers and dads must recognise the negative impact of these stereotypes and work towards overcoming them. Right now, we must display the attributes of positive masculinity and celebrate fatherhood. And that's something that you as employers and dads need to get on board with. As a father of 2 boys, I'm acutely aware of the societal expectations placed on me in raising them. I believe in teaching my boys the positive traits we can portray, but I also encourage them to understand and navigate their emotions during challenging moments at home. It's a learning curve for me and for them, but it's influenced by lessons passed down through generations of fathers in my family. You see, today I'm more aware of the need to be that positive influence in their lives. My commitment to myself has been pivotal to my journey, but finding the right balance, understanding what they need, has allowed me to adapt to the pressures of work and fatherhood. Today my role stretches far beyond financial support. However, navigating these evolving expectations can be complex. As his employer, you need to tap into this and you need to understand it. For instance, as a father working from home, I bear a decent portion of strain, especially when it comes to drop-offs and balancing household chores. or being present at home fosters a stronger connection with my children, it can also lead to feelings of isolation and a blurring of boundaries between work and my personal life. I must strike a balance between traditional notions of masculinity and the modern expectation of being emotionally available and actively engaged with my kids. For me, presence, engagement and open communication are key ingredients, all of which need to be encouraged. My work is an important part of who I am. My role at work is something that generates the opportunities I desire, but it's also a conduit to better times and experiences, and these shouldn't be overlooked or looked down upon. As I've said, you need to prioritise what's important. And to the employer listening, you must help him find that balance that works without undermining his ability to be present at home. It must allow him to deliver in his day-to-day role. At these critical stages, if you fail to engage, you might lose him or create a barrier to unlocking his potential in the workplace. If you engaged, you're in his corner and you can help him embrace his role more fully and create healthier, more fulfilling relationships with his kids. For me, that's a massive tick in the employer support box. What you're saying is we respect, trust and value your commitment to our business, and we respect the boundaries of our relationship, and we are committed to your journey as a father. If you get it right and dad engages, then you're opening the door to honest, frank and important conversations around family and the pressures of modern day fatherhood. Your support helps him create an environment at home that enables him to be more present and give them what they need. As part of this episode, I've created a 4-point plan for employers to adopt to build support networks necessary to help him thrive in his role as a new dad. The first part is about signposting the current paternity leave policy and reviewing it for potential enhancements. Aim for a basic enhanced package that ensures new dads are not financially impacted by taking paternity leave. It is important to understand the demographics of your employers to assess the associated costs with paternity and maternity leave. Think about offering shared parental leave to accommodate the evolving dynamics of modern parenting. The benefits for you, the employer, well, an enhanced paternity leave attracts and retains top talent, leading to competitive advantage in the job market. Supportive leave policies contribute to a positive company culture, fostering employee loyalty and satisfaction. Embracing shared parental leave promotes gender equality and diversity within your organisation, enhancing inclusivity. The benefits for the employee are simple. Financial security during the transition to fatherhood, allowing him to focus on his new family and his responsibilities. It's an opportunity for him to actively engage in parenting and bond with his kids, leading to increased job satisfaction and work-life balance. That flexibility to share childcare responsibilities and support the partner's career promotes a more equal partnership at home. The second step would be to introduce a back to work and preparing for fatherhood policy. Incorporate discussions about returning to work and preparing for fatherhood into career or coaching conversations. Beyond the administrative matters, address potential complications of the need for flexible working or additional time off. Conduct a follow-up career conversation upon his return to work. Provide the support and review his career path plan to facilitate a better transition. So what does that mean for you, the employer? Well, smooth transitions allow employees to be more prepared, and it minimises the disruption in their productivity. It demonstrates a commitment to employee well-being, fostering a supportive work environment that values work-life integration. It supports the employee's development and career progression, leading to higher levels of engagement. For the employee, there's guidance and support in navigating the challenges of returning to work after paternity leave, ensuring a successful reintegration. There's an opportunity for him to review his career plans and set goals that align with his evolving priorities as a working dad. And there's improved work-life integration through flexible working arrangements, allowing him to manage his parental responsibilities effectively. The third action would be to signpost the work done for fathers and the fatherhood community. Build initiatives within your workforce. Raise awareness of the policies and make sure they're constantly reviewed. Make sure that father support is on the agenda. Highlight the space created for building a community among your working dads. Share information about resources, events and initiatives that support him in the workplace. Emphasise the importance of peer-led community and the benefits of connecting with other dads. Create space for monthly forums or meetings that can provide a safe environment for confidential conversations. Access to resources like the Modern Fatherhood Club's community can enhance support and awareness. Think about your wellbeing sites or even the intranet platforms. These can be used to signpost events, special occasions like Father's Day, Men's Mental Health Week and Parental Mental Health Week. Offer opportunities to create more awareness. Designated physical spaces within the workplace can be used for meetings and support group gatherings. As employers, you can champion and support these events to encourage participation and engagement. Remember that diversity and inclusion should include both mums and dads. Incorporating discussions on the challenges faced by working dads within diversity inclusion committees provides a comprehensive understanding of modern parenting experiences. So what are you getting from that one? Well, benefits for the employer. So you're going to have enhanced employer branding as a family-friendly and inclusive workplace, attracting top talent and improving your reputation. Improve your employee engagement and retention through a sense of belonging and support for the working dad and their community. There's going to be increased collaboration and knowledge sharing among fathers in your organisation, and that's going to foster a culture of learning and growth. So what are the benefits for him? Well, he's going to have access to resources and initiatives tailored to his needs, providing valuable support and guidance. There's going to be networking opportunities on offer from other dads in your working community. That creates that sense of camaraderie and shared experiences. Recognition of his role as a father and the value placed on work-life balance will lead to increased job satisfaction. Okay, so the final one would be flexible working arrangements. Now, you can provide flexible working options and support conversations around them. The key is to signpost the importance of well-being, mental health and physical health during those discussions. You want to regularly review the arrangement with the father to ensure its effectiveness. You want to consider the financial impacts and discuss resources for managing changes in circumstances and childcare needs. So what does that give you, the employer? Well, again, you've got increased employee productivity and job satisfaction due to improved work-life balance and reduced stress levels. But also there's an expanded talent pool by attracting diverse candidates seeking flexible working options, promoting diversity and inclusion. There'll be reduced turnover and absenteeism as employees can better manage their parental responsibilities across the workforce while maintaining careers. From an employee perspective, he's got to have the work-life balance. It should reduce his stress. It leads to greater job satisfaction and overall well-being. There'll be greater autonomy and control over work schedules, allowing for more effective time management and work-life integration. There'll be an opportunity for him to fulfill parenting responsibilities without sacrificing career growth, supporting long-term career satisfaction. Your role is simple. Engage men in conversations about mental health and fatherhood. Yes, it's a challenge. We don't want to talk about it, but we will. The objective is to address us as fathers and create space to meet, listen and share stories. I don't want to listen to a Zoom presentation put together by my leadership team that I cannot connect with. I want stories from the leadership team, but they don't always translate to the everyday man, the everyday dad. I want to sit down with my fellow dad and talk strategy, advice, and even go so far as having a laugh. That's why creating space where dads can connect and share experiences is crucial to your plan. If I'm not engaged as a father in a diversity conversation, I'm marginalised and ignored. We're seeing mums overlooked too. And if we're failing to engage with families then eroding the foundation of the relationship between employee and employer is a major issue that we're overlooking. Individuals can obviously contribute to supporting working dads, and that can include well-being champions or designated mental health first aiders that can provide relatable support. Get it? All of those things are important. But early interaction upon a dad's return to work helps him establish support systems. As leaders, connecting with dads before they go on paternity leave ensures they have access to resources and understand the policies. As a leader, do not overlook me as a returning dad. Encourage me to access the paternity leave policy. Help me understand it. And where possible, the leadership team tailor it to make sure you're having the best impact on your working dads. As a business, tailor your approach and implement the strategies that can provide effective support. Look, I'm a man, and that creates barriers to those that are isolated. Fatherhood is incredibly lonely, and it leaves you exhausted. And when you're shattered, are you really giving your family and your employer the energy they need? Supporting career dads is not only essential for their well-being, but it also creates success within organisations. By acknowledging the challenges faced by career dads and implementing strategies to address them, you, the employer, foster a supportive and inclusive work environment. Embracing work-life balance, promoting equality and providing resources will benefit them while contributing to enhanced employee satisfaction, improved productivity and a stronger company culture. Supporting working fathers as they adapt to fatherhood is crucial for promoting healthy families and achieving work-life balance. By recognising the changing landscape of fatherhood, providing strategies for balancing work and family life, addressing mental health challenges, building supportive communities, and implementing employer support programs, we can create an environment that values, protects and supports the working dad. So there's so much you can do as an employer. There's so much you can do as a working dad. But you have to collaborate. You have to communicate. You've got to have a plan. You, the dad, cannot bury your head in the sand and expect things to blow past and have no impact on you and your family. You cannot burn out. You need to receive the support, and I get it. Access to resources is crucial. Access to education is crucial. But if you're not banging the drum, if you're not shouting it out loud, if you're not protecting your family with your mental health, with your physical health, then you are going to find it more challenging. Your employer can only go so far. But the signposting, the education, the provision of resources, the policies, if they work, if there is an engagement from the leadership team, your direct leader, in your fatherhood story, you will feel more confident. You will find a balance that works. It will not be a perfect balance. You must work at it. There will be times when you feel conflicted. There will be times of high stress. Some of that will come from the family. Some of that will come from work. But you can. If there is an open dialogue, receive support. Yes, our view on fatherhood has to change. We are an important community within any workforce. We cannot be overlooked. Our objective is to be the best dads we can be. Behind us, though, stands a strong family foundation that we form part of. But behind that further is a strong relationship with our employer. Not just the fact that they pay us. With the right policies, the right support, the right education, the right communication, the right culture, fathers can succeed at home by having a massive impact on their kids, feeling connected and present, and still succeed in the workplace and still deliver on the objectives of that business. Together, we need to work in partnership. But that partnership starts with you, Dad, opening that dialogue, and you, the employer, making positive change quickly within your business. Thank you for watching and stopping in. As always, this has been Aidan, the founder of the Modern Fatherhood Club and father of two. Remember, the Modern Fatherhood Club has your back. And if there's something you want to discuss, never be afraid to reach out. I'll be back soon with the next instalment. And if you're the employer listening to this episode, if you want to engage working fathers and support their journey and need support in doing so, reach out. Let's talk it through. Let's create the strategies that work for your business whilst we put them at the forefront of those strategies. I'll speak to you soon. Resources in today's episode are designed to hit home and raise the profile of the importance of a father's struggle. Fatherhood in Focus will continue to bring these messages to the forefront of our minds and focus on the reality of modern fatherhood. Like anything, you have to work hard at it. Perseverance, resilience, effort, and a willingness to give it everything is just part of your story. Your struggle, emotions are things that you are conditioned to keep to yourself. Someone asked me why I haven't stopped working on this project and what keeps me going. The answer is simple. Look at your kids. Every motivation to stay on track, to fight back, is right there. No matter how hard it is and how much pain you carry, they need you. They don't need you to step up. That's on you. They need you to be present, free from conflict and accessible. My biggest fear is that I'll fail my boys. My resources, courses, videos, and everything I write or record is designed to help dads who, like me, may have lost their way. I know you because I know me. The only difference is that I'm one step further ahead. My fear of failure pushes me on, but in reality, that biggest fear is really simple. If my sons become the man I once was, then I haven't given them what they need. Love your journey, focus on the impact that you have, and give them everything you have, but not at the expense of your health, confidence, passion, and love for life. This has been Fatherhood in Focus. Thank you for listening.